Now, I know that Roger Stone has big international contacts, not to the Russians, but let's just say in the Middle East and in other areas in Europe, and he's always got his ear to the ground. Now, he's been out of commission for 10 days, sick as he's ever been, didn't sleep hardly, the last year. Literally, I told everybody that. He got really sick, and he's been staying up for months trying to finish his book. So this is an exclusive interview. He hasn't been doing any in the last 10 days. Here he is, but front and center. I know he's been better the last few days, kind of getting caught up. He can give us the latest on Trump that he's allowed to get into and this crisis. But I hope Trump knows that they're coming after him in America. They are now basically like kamikazes who know from Italy to the UK to the United States, everybody's pulling out of globalism. Soros says there's an ascendant populism, and they're in full panic mode. So this is the Guter Damarong, folks. This is the Ragnarok. This is the final battle in their view. This is very Hitler in the bunker. So they're totally inversing reality. He's accusing Trump of overthrowing democracies when that's his specialty. Good to see you, my friend, on Skype. I got to say, you weren't fat, but you lost some weight when you were sick. So I guess you came out of this on the good end. I've always made the joke that when I get the flu occasionally, I lose 10 pounds. But wow, where should we start?
Well, I put it this way. I lost weight the hard way. You know, Alex, I think the president-elect was hoping to have more of a working vacation at his estate, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. But my understanding is he has been glued to the telephone, working the UN situation and beating back the treachery of the Obama administration there, in touch with other world leaders. I must say, it felt really great to have a president of the United States who's actually willing to tweet Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays. I wish that the president-elect could get the kind of rest and recreation, a little more golf, but he's very plugged in to the world situation, which I think you could see in this statement this morning, in which he essentially says, hold on, Israel, help is coming.
What do you make geopolitically? The Democrats pretty much admit they're trying to cause a war to embarrass Trump. They should be brought up in charges if they actually cause this war and try to bring down the economy. They admit they want to raise interest rates to stall the Trump euphoria. They're in full panic mode. The world is so hungry for prosperity. Trump's turning out even better than we thought, and he's still 21 days out.
And they made an enormous investment in an attempt to hijack the Electoral College. They made an enormous investment, $3.5 million to the state of Wisconsin for the phony recount that yielded nothing, after harping on the popular vote. So at each stop, their plan to upset the apple cart and remove Donald Trump has failed. This is why I think you're seeing this kind of hysteria generated once again by Mr. Soros.
I brought up some points here, and I want to get back into questions I've got, Roger, but obviously I know you got better in the last few days, so you were reassessing what was happening currently. What else should we be looking for? What else should we be on the outlook for, obviously, because there's good things happening, there's bad things happening. We see the ruling class that's hijacked the country and the world panicking because they see a return of prosperity, something that they've been admitting they have to tap down. The West is so powerful, so wealthy, that Americanism must be destroyed so collectivism can be supreme. What else is on your radar?
Well, let's remember that President-elect Trump is still trying to form a government. He still has to name a Secretary of Agriculture. He still has to name somebody to straighten out the mess at the Veterans Administration. I do know that he is very, very focused on the VA. He's very focused on looking at innovative programs to finance an infrastructure rebuilding across the country. These, combined with his economic plan, I think are the main focus here. And having known him almost 40 years, the word can't does not exist in his lexicon. He just says he's an American. All things are possible.
Sure.
And therefore, he is deeply committed. I know the experts have told him the VA system can't be fixed, can't be fixed. He doesn't believe it, and he's going to fix it. It is so refreshing to have a political figure who wins office and then actually intends to do the things he said he was going to do in the election.
Well, that's right.
So,
well, Trump understands what's really going on because he battled big cities and corrupt machines all over the country. And I've had all the top experts on from the VA, even former deputy heads, and they say, look, we're here to social engineer the vets, make sure they don't actually get what they're supposed to do, and basically list them all as mentally ill so they can politically have their rights taken. So it's been deliberately sabotaged. That's why, I mean, the amount of money spent, they should all be treated like kings and queens. And so just taking the foot off the troops' necks and just allowing the actual funds to get to them will bring in the doctors, bring in the people we need. So that's what this is about. It's like healthcare. We had the best in the world till they started sabotaging it.
I think that's exactly right. It is probably the #1 national scandal. It's something that I know keeps Trump up late at night. It's something he feels very deeply about. And you're going to get progress in this area. But he's got an entire government to reform. For example, under the Democrats, the Interior Department, specifically the Bureau of Indian Affairs, has become a money machine for the Democratic National Party.
That's right. Nothing against the Native Americans and their casinos, but they give, what, 95%, I was reading just last week in the Wall Street Journal, to the Democrats. Sorry, you don't have foreign governments that get to do things that other people can't, and then you use it to manipulate our country and take our guns and our freedom. Sorry, Native Americans. Sorry, you can make millions of dollars, but not at the expense of my freedom.
That's exactly right. So, believe it or not, the #1 donor to the Democratic National Party is the trial bar. #2 are the Indian casinos. #3 is organized labor. That is where we have gotten to. And the truth is that 90% of the cash...
Hold on, we got an emergency. We got an emergency. This is much worse than we thought. We knew they were trying to start a war with Russia. They've just expelled the Russian diplomats and closed Russian embassies here in the U.S. That was not even done during the Cuban Missile Crisis or during the Cold War. This is something you do when you go to DEFCON 2, Defense Condition 2, or maybe even 1, which means, I mean, this is total insanity, Reuters. Oh, my God, this is a coup against America to stop Trump. Oh, this is 10 times worse than I thought. The United States on Thursday expelled 35 Russian diplomats and closed 2 Russian compounds in New York and Maryland in response to a campaign of harassment by Russia against American diplomats in Moscow. A senior U.S. official said on Thursday, wow. The U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity, we've seen U.S. diplomats try to run into their embassies and infiltrate. The U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity told Reuters the Russian diplomats would be given 72 hours to leave the United States. Access to 2 compounds will be denied to all Russian officials as of noon Friday, the official added. So this is unprecedented, Roger. You were in the Nixon administration. You were in the Reagan administration. I mean, when we were on the edge of, nuclear war, this crap didn't go on. This is unprecedented.
The obviousness of it is what's so astounding. It is so blatant. I mean, this is reminds me of Joe Biden chortling about the cyber war that we're going to use to provoke the Russians. They are so
Doesn't Trump need to tell them stop it right now? I mean, we need to start. I mean, this is an act of war right here. This is what, I mean, you shut down embassies once war starts.
The problem, of course, is that the administration wouldn't listen. Just yesterday in an interview, President Obama says that had he run against Donald Trump, he's confident that he would have beaten him.
Oh, money.
What happened to the American tradition of the outgoing president not criticizing the incoming president and vice versa? It has been a bipartisan tradition in this country since the beginning of time.
Well, Roger, I mean, look, they would only invoke and claim the Russians had taken over through Trump if they were planning to engage COG and have martial law and war. I said that 3 weeks ago. It got picked up internationally. I mean, I've studied COG. We're going to skip this break, guys. I'm going to have to skip all of them here about to have a nuclear war. This, in my knowledge, Roger, let's get on this right now and get Watson on it, too. I don't believe they've ever done something like this where they close diplomatic compounds that are already established without having a congressional law that just changes where they can have them. And that's not been done even during the Cold War. Roger, this is unprecedented. These actions were taken to respond to Russian harassment of American diplomats. See, no proof. Now it's not hacking. Now it's harassment.
Who exactly are these diplomats, and why was not reported at the time?
And the actions by diplomats that have been assessed to be not consistent with diplomatic practice, the officials told Russia. I mean, this is just the beginning. They're saying they're going to launch a cyber war on Russia. I guess turn their lights off, maybe turn a nuclear power plant off, and then when they have another Chernobyl, what, just have a frickin' nuclear war here, Roger?
Anything is possible under this administration. And the hysteria they are experienced because they see Donald Trump disassembling the New World Order.
Well, I said last night, I watched CNN, and they had the look of people around a death watch where they went, something big's about to happen, war, and it's Trump's fault, and they went, it's his fault, knowing it's all them doing it. And then they just went, so be it. And I was like watching what I saw before 9/11 on CNN again. And they said something big's going to happen. Big towers are going to come down. Our life will be the same. We're going to change the way we have freedoms. There's going to be a big war. And it was the Hart-Rubin Commission, Gary Hart and Warren Redmond on, no, it was CNBC. It was Hardball. And they were telling that 9/11 was coming and the world would never be the same on July 24th. And I came out and said they're going to blow up the World Trade Center, blame it on bin Laden. I'm seeing the same weird criminal energy now on the TV channels as they prepare for something big, Roger. And Roger, you know I don't just say stuff. I mean, everything's aligning. I think they're going to try a coup. I think we're in an emergency situation right now.
I agree with you. I'm particularly concerned about the president's security. He is hunkered down at his place in Palm Beach. But as each day gets closer to January 20th,
Good God,
the hysteria level just ratchets up, up, up. So I think that these are desperate times, and these are desperate people who will do desperate things.
let's be clear. If we were reading about this 50 years ago in U.S. history, there'd be thousands of books. It'd be the #1 thing ever. The battle, the war, the Democrats not leaving, being funded by foreign powers, claiming that another president who wasn't was funded by it. I mean, they're the ones that have the Indian casinos putting money into Hillary. They're the ones with the Saudi Arabians bragging they gave 20%. They're the ones in the WikiLeaks involved in all the crime and all the foreign collusion and all the foreign money. Then they're blaming America, wanting our sovereignty back on the Russians and claiming if Merkel's voted out, they're going to ignore the vote because the Russians did that too. I mean, this is crazy.
They have to be very disappointed in the fact that only 29% of the American people have bought the entire fraudulent argument that the Russians hacked and somehow affected our election. This was their big move, and it has
Sure. So let me ask you this question.
As a get prop. It has failed as a get prop, and now they're going to take it to the next level.
I agree, Roger. So let me ask you this question. What does Trump do? What do we do? These are abject lying criminals. We have the WikiLeaks. They're completely insane. They're trying to start a war with Russia. They clearly shot down the airplane and the other one as well, the surface-to-air missile. There's footage of that. They're killing diplomats. They're hurtling towards war. They've got Keith Olbermann calling for war with Russia, screaming Russian scum. This is insane.
Well, the good news, of course, is that the president has surrounded himself with a solid group of advisors like General James Mad Dog Mattis, General Flynn. So he's not out there alone. I guarantee you he is huddled with his advisors. And that they...
I know, and I mean, do they understand the magnitude of what's currently happening? Because I understand they want to be, fixing America, getting us jobs, trying to prove they're nice guys, while the frickin' demons are planning to start nuclear war and openly cause an intifada to overthrow Israel.
Again, I think that the establishment types have been so brazen, so obvious in their moves that they are entirely on President Trump's radar screen now. I think he knows exactly what's going on, and I, too, am counting the minutes before he takes office.
Gosh. I think they're crazy enough. I mean, they got Soros, who commands this whole thing, saying he's Hitler and he must be stopped. What do you make of that?
This has been a trend that you spotted from the beginning. All along the way, they have accused us of exactly what they are doing at every step of the process from the beginning. So they're the ones who would like to stage a Hitler-like coup, but we blame that on Donald Trump. It's Kafkaesque. I mean, it's Alice in Wonderland.
It's upside down world.
It really is. It really is.
Roger, again, I don't want to be hysteric here. This is hysterical. I've read hundreds of books on the whole Russian thing, like you have. The Cold War. It's so interesting. I've seen countless Discovery Channel and History Channel shows. I've had a bunch of guests on about it. The Venona secrets and all of it. I mean, I've never seen them. Google expelling Russian diplomats in history, or has the U.S. expelled diplomats before? They've expelled them that were known spies doing illegal things. But to just expel whole buildings, claiming some nebulous thing, Roger, have you ever heard of this?
It's a provocation. I've never seen anything like it historically. And it is something that the president has to stay on top of.
Well, they're planning something. I saw the arrogance return to the CNN operatives, we know are CIA, bad group CIA. I saw the arrogance come back last night, and they're planning something big. And they're like, well, he's got to handle the fact that the Russians put him in, and there's about to be a big war, and it's his fault. And they're all like, yep. And they look very satisfied talking about the president suddenly, and they've got some evil plan. And my God, I don't know what to say, Roger.
Alex, I'm going to head back to the computer because I've got a tight deadline for my book, The Making of the President 2016. And I should add, I'm trying to include these very events that we're talking about in the book. In other words, until the book closes, I am going to bring this right up to the second of Donald Trump.
Sure, and it's historical, and you've got a blueprint. Well, listen, before you go in the last 2 minutes we have left here, other things that are on the radar, what else can we as citizens do? Call into talk radio, point this is happening. I mean, how do we expose this insanity?
The best way, of course, is, I think, do exactly that, to call into radio shows like this one and to work the social media very hard while we still have it. Twitter, Facebook, Gab, these are powerful, powerful tools. And we know that our critics and those who would overturn this election would like to shut us down from these social media outlets. So take to the ramparts Use your Twitter feed. Use your Facebook feed.
That's right. And also our own URL, stonecoldtruth.com, infowars.com, prisonplanet.com. Those are going to become more and more important as they delist us, block us, and the rest of it. It's now here. Roger, thank you.
Great to be here again.
Folks can pre-order the book. When's the book come out in the next couple months?
The book has to be turned in by the 1st, and it should be out around the time of the inauguration.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can pre-order the book now on Amazon.com, his website as well. And we're now pre-ordering and pre-selling it at InfoWarsStore.com. But let me just state the most important thing of the broadcast today, okay? I'm going to state it right now. If everybody's, we're about to go to break and come back. It looks comical for them saying the election was stolen by Russians and we're all Russian spies, and they just passed a law last Friday to start censoring media they claim is connected to the Russians and turn loose the Board of Governors under the FCC, under CIA command, to shut down the internet, you name it. That's a huge story, that the internet, print media, satellite, all of what they're claiming is now under the FCC, under the National Defense Authorization Act of 2017, and they admit that they're going to censor. Now, the censorship's already beginning at Google, Facebook, and Twitter. They're not going to bring in total censorship until they start a war. And then it's, oh, see, we're rounding up the Russian agents. This is just so historic, so brazen, so naked, so insane, and it's sure to cause a civil war. They miscalculated with Hillary. They miscalculated with the polls. They miscalculated on WikiLeaks. They're run by this crazy old Nazi collaborator, and they're planning to not let Trump get into office and start a war with Russia. And they're willing to start a nuclear war before they did. They're willing to overthrow Israel. Basically saying to the Arabs, start attacking Israel. U.S. expels 35 Russian diplomats, closes 2 compounds. Get me everything we've got on this. And they say more is going to start happening. This is unbelievable. Kicking Russians out of the United States from embassies. Wow. That's what you do when you're in a war. In fact, you never do it until the war starts, and then you close the embassy. Wow. So I told you they're going to start a war. This is it. It's what all the leftists want. They want nuclear war and death. They're a death cult. They love abortion. They're demons. InfoWars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wingers, saying we're extremists. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to, and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we, the people, by taking action, can break the back of the system. So please click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com. Now, I know that Roger Stone has big international contacts, not to the Russians, but let's just say in the Middle East and in other areas in Europe, and he's always got his ear to the ground. Now, he's been out of commission for 10 days, sick as he's ever been, didn't sleep hardly, for the last year. Literally, I told everybody that. He got really sick, and he's been staying up for months trying to finish his book. So this is an exclusive interview. He hadn't been doing any in the last 10 days. Here he is, but front and center. I know he's been better the last few days, kind of getting caught up. He can give us the latest on Trump that he's allowed to get into and this crisis. But I hope Trump knows that they're coming after him in America. They are now basically like kamikazes who know from Italy to the UK to the United States, everybody's pulling out of globalism. Soros says there's an ascendant populism and they're in full panic mode. So this is the Guter Damerong, folks. This is the Ragnarok. This is the final battle in their view. This is very Hitler in the bunker. So they're totally inversing reality. He's accusing Trump of overthrowing democracies when that's his specialty. Good to see you, my friend, on Skype. I got to say, you weren't fat, but you lost some weight when you were sick. So I guess you came out of this on the good end. I've always made the joke that when I get the flu occasionally, I lose 10 pounds. But wow, where should we start?
Well, I put it this way: I lost weight the hard way. You know, Alex, I think the president-elect was hoping to have more of a working vacation at his estate, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. But my understanding is he has been glued to the telephone, working the UN situation and beating back the treachery of the Obama administration there, in touch with other world leaders. I must say, it felt really great to have a president of the United States who's actually willing to tweet Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays. I wish that the president-elect could get the kind of rest and recreation, a little more golf, but he's very plugged in to the world situation, which I think you could see in this statement this morning, in which he essentially says, hold on, Israel, help is coming.
What do you make geopolitically? The Democrats pretty much admit they're trying to cause a war to embarrass Trump. They should be brought up in charges if they actually cause this war and try to bring down the economy. They admit they want to raise interest rates to stall the Trump euphoria. They're in full panic mode. The world is so hungry for prosperity. Trump is turning out even better than we thought, and he's still 21 days out.
And they made an enormous investment in an attempt to hijack the Electoral College. They made an enormous investment, $3.5 million to the state of Wisconsin for the phony recount that yielded nothing, after harping on the popular vote. So at each stop, their plan to upset the apple cart and remove Donald Trump